Hi and welcome. This is MBA512, Business Planning and Strategic Management. This is a summer course and I am Professor Nugent. I am going to be conducting a video syllabus to give you an idea of what this course is about, how it works, what your involvement is going to be, what your day-to-day activities should be. So let's get started. So the first thing you'll come to is announcements, and it typically loads on the announcements page. And the first thing I have under announcements is getting started. So here is where I am posting the video syllabus where you can watch. It's a YouTube video that you can watch. I'm also going to be emailing this to you, so you probably clicked on it from an email. If you go to anytime you want to review this, you can view it as many times as you want on YouTube. Now I've laid out the course week by week. So for week one, what I call class 1, class 2, because in the summer class we usually meet twice for 3 hours or so. So in class 1, I'm going to go over the first chapter of the Kellogg's and Strategy book. And I posted a link to my YouTube lecture on chapter 1. And I'm covering chapter 2, which is broken into 2 video lectures. Now also, so that's really just the content of what we're covering in week 1. And then I just kind of go through this all the way into week 6. So I lay out all the chapters and all the links to all the video lectures for the course on this getting started announcement. Now the first thing I say here is to see assignments on the menu tab, to read case studies, and submit all homework assignments. Okay, so let's head on over to assignments. And you click on assignments and you will see the first assignment is discussion board participation. And this is 18 points of your grade. And I'm going to set up 6 discussion board questions, 1 per week, which will go to the discussion board in a second, and I'll show you in a second. And I expect students to post at least 1 original response to my question and at least 2 replies. And each post should be about 100 to 200 words. And you earn points from participating in the quality of your answers and replies. Okay, so we'll go over discussion board a little bit more after I'm finished with the assignments page. Now, on May 29th, case 1 is due. So how do you complete case 1? Well, first, let's read the instructions. Hand in the case online by clicking the above link. This would be the link. Attach the file to Browse My Computer and keep a backup copy. And make sure you include the name at the top of your assignment. After you submit, you will see an exclamation mark in the gradebook, and this is normal, waiting for me to grade. And once I grade it, the exclamation mark will turn into a number. And you can check your grades by going to Tools and then clicking on My Grades, and you can see how your grades are progressing. There will be no late submissions, and make sure you put the name on the top of your paper. That's very crucial. Now attach in a Word or PDF format to this link. Don't cut and paste to the text box that's provided. Just attach a file, and that will be the best. And I could really only interpret the Word documents or PDFs. Okay, and here is the case. So you pull down the case. It takes a second to open. Okay, so I have 4 case questions here, and then I've put a couple articles related to the case questions. And this one's about LinkedIn buying lynda.com and some strategic management associated with LinkedIn and lynda.com in this merger. So this is just a case to sort of open up a dialogue and for you to answer these questions. Pretty simple. And then you just click on case 1 when you have completed your questions, and you'll see this Browse My Computer button. You'll click that and you'll attach the file. So pretty simple. And this first case is worth 8 points, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cases for the class. And I update the cases every semester. This semester, I put a new LinkedIn case. I put a new case on Tesla. So I'm constantly updating these to keep them current, fresh, and relevant to what's happening in the real world. So they're meant to be interesting cases on companies you know about and situations that relate to our material in the class. Okay. Now, So those are the case studies, and those make sure you make note of the due dates, and because you don't, because I don't accept any late assignments, especially in a class as short as this. So make sure that if you do have any issues where you think that something could come up, make sure you submit a day early, so that way you always have extra time just in case something happens. Now, we're also going to be, I'm also going to be conducting a simulation. And a Zoom simulation is 15 points of your grade. Each student will be a team of one, so I'm not forcing anybody to work in teams. However, if you would like to work in a team, if you know somebody in the class, you are free to work in the teams up until as most as 3 people. However, you don't have to work in teams. You can work by yourself. Sometimes it's more difficult to work in teams, especially in an online class, so I'm not going to force that on anybody. So leave that up to you. If you have a friend that's taking the class at the same time, you're more than welcome to team up on the simulation. If not, you can complete it by yourself. Okay, so now we have to go to jupiterinteractive.net. That's where the simulation lives. And I'm going to expect you to do 2 practice rounds. Round 1 and round 2, and these are going to be due by May 31st. And this is to ensure me that you know the basics of the simulation before you move into the team competition rounds. Let's see. Okay, so we have the round processing for the teams is going to take place June 7th, 14th, 21st, 28th, and July 3rd. So on each of those days, I'm going to process the round. It means you need to be completed with your decisions and have them submitted before that due date and time. And I will process the round, and then you'll earn points based on how well you do in the simulation. So over 2,500 points, you'll get the full 15 points for the simulation. And if you don't, if you don't achieve at least, say, 1,800 points, your 15 points can dwindle down to as little as 2 points. So that's why it's important to pay attention to. I will be giving you a lot of supplemental videos and help during the semester to help to make sure that you do well in the simulation, that you understand what's happening and how it relates to strategic management. So it's a really good experiential learning tool for me to kind of give you some sort of experience in some of the key concepts that we're learning in strategic management. Okay. And also there is a final exam that's worth 25 points. This link, you won't see it right now. It'll only come available after, on the day that the exam is, there's a range where I'm going to have you work on the exam, and it's the last week of class. And then the syllabus will detail the actual dates of the exam. So let me just talk about the Zoom simulation a little bit more for a minute. So I'm going to copy this link here. Okay, so when you get to the Zoom simulation, you want to click on Student Sign Up. Okay, so and then you fill this registration in, first name, last name, email. Create a username and password, something you're going to remember, and make sure you write it down. And then you, I guess, fill in the security code, hit I agree with it, and then continue registration. And then it's going to go into, it's going to look for a credit card. I believe they say that, I think the simulation is around $35. It's relatively inexpensive compared to CapSim, which I don't want to use because I know another instructor is using that for the strategy class, and that's about a $78 simulation. So I found one that was better, I think better than Capstone and less expensive. So it meets all my chip boxes are checked with the simulation. So I think you'll find it a better solution. Okay, so once you fill this out, you pay for it with a credit card, and then it's going to link you to my class. So let me show you what that will look like on your side. Okay, so once you've finished paying for the simulation, you're going to come to, excuse me, what you see here is step 3, class selection. So it's going to look for a class code. So if you go back to assignments under the Zoom simulation assignment, I will put a class code in there that you're going to enter into this box to connect your account, your student account, to my simulation. So we're going to go ahead and enter that. Okay, so once I type into our class code and hit submit, it brings me to this place where I have play individual practice or play team competition. So clicking in here, play individual practice, is what's going to bring me to a solo game where I'm going to play against computers. And I expect every student to complete 2 rounds of this before the end of May. individual practice by yourself, just so you get a feel for it and make sure you're a little bit more prepared before you move into the classroom competition. That's this button here. So every time you log in, you'll get a choice between these two buttons, and that's how you move between the practice and the team competition. You don't have to stop at 2 rounds. If you want to go full 6 rounds and complete the individual practice, and then they'll allow you to restart it again, and you can keep moving through the individual practice as many times as you want. But only click on that restart the round when you want to erase everything you did and go back to round 1. Otherwise, you want to keep moving forward. And the way that the simulation looks, the rounds look a little similar. Now, for example, you click on play individual practice, and you get the first round here. And I'm just going to slap in some numbers. And I have a video where I'm going to describe everything about the simulation. But you put your numbers in, and it calculates for you your profit margin, sales price I put in, and then how many cars you want to forecast. And you have to read the student user guide to really understand all these different nuances of how much you should forecast and what the customer expectations mean. And then when you're done, you click on submit student data. I do have these reflective observation questions down here in the simulation. You don't have to answer these for the summer class. That might take too much time. So just do the mechanics of the simulation. And as you complete each page and you click on submit at the bottom of the page, that loads it to the database, and then you move on to the next, which would be marketing, production, finance, and you get to the bottom of the finance page, you submit and complete the round, and automatically it'll put you into round 2. And when you're in round 2, it just kind of starts over on the sales page again, and you rebuild your car. You'll see when you start working with it. Okay, so when you log in, again, you get this double choice. Now, for the classroom competition, where we're doing 5 rounds of the classroom competition, you will click on this button, and you are going to have to create a new company. So you're going to click on create new company to get started in the team competition. And once you click on create new company, it's going to bring you to this page here, and you're going to create a company name. It could be any name you want, and then I guess you'll be the president of the company, and then you'll start working on the simulation at this point. So, and then when you may see other teams if you log in after other people, but you don't want to select someone else's team to join unless you actually have worked out an agreement that you're going to be working with that student, and they know, and the two of you are working together. Otherwise, you'll have to create your own team. Okay, back to the Blackboard. Okay, so that's the simulation, and I'm gonna send a link of a video that goes over the basic mechanics of how to do the simulation and things of that nature, so you have a better understanding of it. And remember to check that video I created for how students can use the simulation. I've created it about a year ago, so it may have some instructions in that second video that is specifically for a previous class. So just make sure you use the class code from the Zoom simulation on the assignments page in here to make sure you get the latest up-to-date class code that we're using. Okay, so discussion board participation. Let's talk about that. So those are the 3 main assignments: discussion board, case studies, and the simulation. So the simulation, there's going to be another video on that to explain how to work that. Case studies are pretty upfront. You read the document, you answer the questions. And the discussion boards, you have to click on this menu button here, discussions. And I have set up the discussion boards. The first discussion board is basically going to ask the first discussion board is going to be something that's going to be here all class long, and it's called class questions. So if you have a question for me that you think is a common question other students could benefit from, you can click on class questions, and you simply click on create thread. And then let's see. Maybe it's called discussion board grades is your and then you type in your question, and I'm saying here in the syllabus you say that you need to answer one question and reply to two students' answers. So does it mean we need to participate 3 times a week? But I go on and say, but you also said that we need to at least participate at least 4 times per week. Therefore, I'm a little confused. So this could be a question a student may ask about the simulation. Let me see, that reads a little bit better that way. So just a question about the discussion board. I won't call it grades, I'll say participation. All right. So I'm going to submit that. So if you're coming into this discussion board, the class questions, you're going to see that this is the thread. So if you click on the thread, you see my question, and then say this was a student writing this, I'll reply to the student, or you could, as a student, you could reply to other students' questions if you know the answer, if it's something that you're familiar with. And here I'm just saying participating includes reading and rating other students' posts. So at the basic minimum, you only have to write 3 posts per discussion question, 1 original, 2 replies. However, you should be reading the other posts and you should be reading people's responses to your posts because people may ask you questions, and that's called participating and keeping an active discussion board. So here, so now I've answered my own question on the student question discussion board. Okay, so let's go back to discussion boards. I have an icebreaker. So the general sort of opening discussion board here is called the FedEx commercial. So here I linked a YouTube video from a FedEx commercial about MBA students, and I ask you a couple general questions about the MBA program. So you're going to click on this, create a thread, and after you watch the video, and respond to this icebreaker. Okay, so this is just to get used to discussion board posting and seeing what some students think about skills needed in the MBA program, and general question like that. Okay, so discussion question 1. So this is the first discussion question that is going to be graded, and let's see. So so the question is, what company do you think has the best strategy? Is the discussion board question for week 1. So I want to know why and describe and explain. And the 2 rules are: please don't use Apple as your company. I've heard everything I need to heard about Apple by teaching this class. All the students always want to use Apple as an example. We all understand how great Apple is. There's no need to talk about every student in the program knows Apple and their strategy and how great they are. So we're going to kind of exclude Apple as an example from most of our strategic management class here and come up with some more original companies. And don't repeat other students' examples. So if another student comes up with a company as an example, don't see what the other students have written and don't write about the same company somebody else has written about. And then you're going to rate each student's original thread from 1 to 5 stars. And generally what I would like is that most people make the original post on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday the latest, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday people are posting their replies. I really don't like it when someone posts the original response on Friday at 10:30 and then their 2 replies at 10:45 and then the link closes on Friday at say 11 p.m. So that's really not fair. You're not giving anybody a chance to read your post or reply to your post, and you're not participating, and you will lose points if you do something like that. Okay, so we click over here, discussion question 1. So we're going to click that, and then we're going to create a thread, and I'm going to answer the question as if I was a student. I'm going to call it. So generally when we create a thread, we want to put your student name in, and then maybe just 1 word or 2 words to describe the main idea of your post. And here Zappos is going to be the company that I'm going to put down as a company I think of the best strategy. And here I've outlined why I think it's the best strategy. And it's important if you're going to use information from other websites or other authors to make sure that you put a citation in at the end of your post so we know where you're getting your data from, your information from. So I know you're not committing plagiarism, because plagiarism can be committed during these discussion boards as well. If you just go out, copy and paste something from another website and put that in here as your answer, that's plagiarism, and that's a big problem. So your answers, your replies to the discussion questions have to be original. And if you do use any information from a website, make sure you put quotations around it and you cite the website article or book that you're pulling your information from. Okay, so I'm just going to hit submit, which is, it's hard for you to see that button. I got to resize the all right, There we go. So hit submit. And then now you'll see when you go into the discussion board for discussion board question 1, you'll see there's already my post. And then as a student, you'll create another thread. Then you'll read other students' threads and reply to them. And it's basically how the discussion board goes. So if you click on my discussion board, and there's a level of stars over here. I can't rate myself, but you can rate my postings from 1 to 5 stars. To let me and other students know how well you think their posts are. This way, you get some peer feedback. If your posts are poor and you're getting 1 or 2 stars, you know that your peers are saying that your posts really aren't that great. It's really not a high-level post. So this is a way for me, I'm going to be rating you, and other students will be rating you, for you to get an overall idea of how you're doing on your discussion board posts. And then it's a simple matter of clicking reply at the bottom of any post that you want to reply to. Okay, so the discussion board questions, right now the FedEx question is the only one open. I'll have the other discussion board questions open as the weeks go by, and then you can start working on them. Now, when it comes to the original posts, I'll open up all the discussion boards so you can make your original posts early if you want to. It's just your replies that have to be made in the time frame of when the discussion board is open, so that way you're participating at the same time everybody else is participating. Okay, so that's the main point there. So let's go into course documents. Now that we've thoroughly described all the assignments and the discussion board, let's go into course documents. And in course documents, I have the syllabus, which we're going to go over in a minute. I have my notes. These are my PowerPoint notes from each of the chapters I'm covering, from Kellogg's on strategy, Blue Ocean, and here are the, I guess there are 2 sets of PowerPoints. This is my most relevant current set of PowerPoints that you have for Kellogg's and strategy. And then let's go back to course documents. So those PowerPoints are good for working on the final exam. They're good to follow along as I do my video lectures. I'm using those PowerPoints, so those are copies of the PowerPoints there. I also have I have a Blue Ocean audio lectures, or MP3. So if you prefer to listen to an audio book in the car or while you're exercising, I've already converted part of the Blue Ocean strategy into these MP3 downloads you could use to put into your, I guess you could listen to it through any MP3 player on your computer, iPad or iPod, wherever you want to listen to it. It's not a substitute for buying the book. It's just another format for listening to the content. Let's see. Okay, so let's go into the syllabus. Okay, when you click on the syllabus, I do have this little bonus PDF here called Dirty Secrets in SOAP Pricing, Example of a Student Response to a Case Study. So this is, if you want an example case study, if you click on this is a case study that I have retired, but I'm giving you a case study which has, the article. At the end of the article, I actually have the student's paper response that I thought was a good response. And to get an idea of how the questions are responded, how to make a citation within the paper. And the 4 questions are answered here. And you can get an idea of what I'm looking for. And I'm not looking for an essay-based paper. Just, I ask, in the top of the cases, I ask the questions up here. So question 1, 2, 3, 4. And then when you're writing up the case, then you just, put question 1, write the answer to the question 1, question 2, write the answer, and so forth and so on. And what I'm looking for is not just a simple regurgitation of the articles I posted along with the questions, but also I'm looking for more connection to the material we're covering in the textbooks, if it's relevant, ideas and concepts from the textbooks to put into your as a supplement for some of your answers, as a source of answers for these questions. I'm looking for you to perhaps do a search on the internet, on Google, in the library databases to find additional support for some of your answers to some of the questions. So some of the questions you may not have all the material necessary within the case studies provided to answer the question fully. You may have to go out and do a couple of internet searches or look for some more relevant data to support your answer, your conclusion. So I'm just looking for a well-rounded, well-written paper that a graduate student should be able to produce based on these strategic case studies. So I figured if I gave you an example of this case remember this is under course documents and syllabus, I posted the example here, you'd have a better idea of what I'm looking for and how to answer these questions. Okay. Now let's go to the syllabus. So here is the syllabus. This is an asynchronous course, which means that I will provide lectures, documents, tests, and assignments, and they can be accessed at any time, day or night. And you just have to figure out what time is best for you to work on the course and get your work done before the due dates. Now, for the discussion boards, I generally tell students you should be active in the discussion boards at least 4 days a week. And that could be just for a half an hour, for 15 minutes. You go in, you see what other students are posting, make a couple replies, and see if anybody replied to your post, and just grade or rate a few other posts as you go through them. So it's important that you participate in the discussion board. But an asynchronous class means that I'm not going to be holding a particular time, saying Tuesday at 2 o'clock we're going to meet online and we're going to all talk live, like via Skype or Stony Brook SB Connect. No, we're not going to have any synchronous. It's all asynchronous. So you could be anywhere you want in the world, and you can work at any time during the day. Just make sure you get your assignments done before the due dates, and we're all fine. So it gives you a lot of flexibility, this asynchronous class. Now, what we're learning here is we're going to talk about companies and their strategies, and what managers do to develop an awareness about how a company strategy helps a company to succeed. So our learning goals are we want to understand the groups of people who have an interest in business and what business does and what businesses do that make businesses successful and how business success is measured. We're going to identify and capitalize on key strengths of existing businesses and how they maintain a competitive advantage relative to their other competition in their industry. We're going to look to analyze factors and that are critical to the success of businesses, including business strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats, a SWOT analysis, in other words, and how to apply these analytical tools to formulate a strategy for a company. So how we're going to accomplish these learning goals? Well, we're going to use the textbooks that I'm going to describe in a second, and I'm going to cover most chapters during this semester. Second, we're going to be using the Zoom business simulation to help reinforce and help you actually practice key strategic points of strategy. So you're going to be running your own company, and you're going to be competing against other students in a simulated marketplace. And we're going to capitalize on case studies to get some real-world examples of products and companies that you know about to get a better understanding of their strategy. So class time will cover, will include the coverage of the information in the textbook as part of my lectures, case studies and discussions of the case studies and current events, and discussion boards. So I will post lecture videos, and I will be reading your discussion posts and participating or replying to some of them where I feel it's necessary, and that's going to be our class environment. Now, the two textbooks that I'm requiring you to purchase, one is Kellogg's on Strategy, Tools, Concepts, and Framework for Practitioners. So this Kellogg's on Strategy book is a very boiled down, to the point, don't waste any of your time type of textbook that gives you the key components of classic strategy or the red ocean strategy, how strategy has typically been taught throughout the years, and the main concepts in how companies compete and their strategic tools they can use to enhance their profitability. The second book is Blue Ocean Strategy, and this is a more modern take on strategic placement and creation of products and development of products. And it's a New York Times bestseller. Both these books are mass published books, meaning that you're not going to pay more than $20 for each book, and you can get them in the student bookstore, of course, has them, and you can easily get them online through Amazon at a decent price. And I suggest that you order these books early so you have them ready to go right when class starts. Okay, as I talked about, assignments will be posted on Blackboard. Your grade will be the following: 18 points on participation, 42 points for the mini case studies posted under assignments, 25 points for the online exam, which is at the end of the course, and it's an exam that I'll give you the file for, you'll complete, and you'll attach the file back the last week of class, and 15 points for the Zoom simulation. And that's a total of 100 points, and these points will translate into a letter grade. Okay. So the test will be based on the material from the textbook, and I want to make sure that you've read the textbook and you understand the material. So that's the reason for this test, so I can get an assessment of how well you understand the material. The format will be essay and short answer, and you'll have 4 days to complete the test. And you'll see the test pop up on assignments on June 29th. A link will appear, and you'll have 4 days to complete and submit back to me. Participation. Each week I will have, be using class discussion questions as I showed you before on the discussion board, and I'd expect you to post into these discussion boards and be generous and participate and helpful to other students. And I'm going to be in those discussion boards quite frequently monitoring your progress. And I want to get the full points for the discussion board questions, I want to see that you are rating other students' posts. That shows me that you're reading them, that you are creating an original post that adds to our body of knowledge for the question, and you're giving meaningful or significant replies to other students. And again, here is our schedule, which is posted under assignments. And the schedule is where I am linking in all of the video lectures for each of the chapters. Okay. And that's it for the syllabus. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the course overview. And I look forward to working with you this summer. And in the meantime, if you have any questions, you can always, I guess, email me directly if you have a question that's more of a private nature or something that you don't want to share with the class. Otherwise, please feel free to use the discussion board student question area to ask questions about the class, so that way everybody can benefit from your question. And I look forward to a successful summer class, and I will be talking with you soon. Thank you.